Breaking news this morning. The United States strikes Venezuela. President Trump orders military strikes on the capital and says Venezuela's president and his wife are now in U.S. custody. The U.S. conducted airstrikes in Venezuela overnight, targeting military bases and at least one port.
And in a post on Truth Social, President Trump says Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro and his wife have been captured and flown out of the country. The president adding that the operation was carried out with the help of U.S. law enforcement.
U.S. officials tell CBS News that Maduro was captured by the U.S. military's elite Delta Force. President Trump on social media early this morning confirmed what he called a large-scale and successful strike. Videos posted to social media show the scenes from Venezuela as explosions were reported at 2 a.m. local time in the capital of Caracas. U.S. officials tell CBS News President Trump ordered strikes on sites inside the country early Saturday morning, including military facilities. In a statement, the Venezuelan government said it, quote, repudiates and denounces to the international community the very serious military aggression by the U.S. government. Ahead of the strikes, President Nicolas Maduro told state TV he's open to talking to the U.S. on drug trafficking, oil, and migration issues. The Trump administration has accused Maduro of being aligned with drug cartels and gangs designated by the U.S. as terrorist organizations. The Trump administration has spent months ramping up pressure on the Maduro regime. Last month, President Trump ordered a blockade of sanctioned oil tankers entering and leaving Venezuela. The massive military buildup of 15,000 American troops in the Caribbean includes 11 Navy ships led by the USS Gerald R. Ford, the world's largest aircraft carrier. Marines aboard the USS Iwo Jima have been conducting live-fire exercises, and stealth fighter jets have been deployed to Puerto Rico. On Monday, President Trump confirmed the first known U.S. strike inside Venezuela, saying an alleged drug-related site was targeted.
They load the boats up with drugs, so we hit all the boats, and now we hit the area.
But he did not confirm reports that the CIA carried out that strike.
Well, I don't want to say that. I know exactly who it was, but I don't want to say who it was.
This week, there were also more deadly strikes on alleged drug boats off the coast of Venezuela. That brought the total to more than 30 strikes on vessels, killing at least 115. For weeks, Democratic lawmakers and even some Republicans have questioned the strategy.
It's a completely made up and false sense that we're at war, we can do whatever we want, but if Congress wants to vote on it, no, we're not at war.
And lawmakers on Capitol Hill, even allies of the president, have said they want more information from the administration about what comes next and the end game. Senator Mike Lee of Utah New this morning on social media posted that he had a conversation with Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who told him Maduro was arrested to stand trial on criminal charges in the United States and that the military action was deployed to protect and defend those executing the arrest warrant overnight. We are expecting to hear many more details from the president himself. A news conference is scheduled for 11 a.m. Eastern at Mar-a-Lago.
We are coming on the air right now with breaking news out of Venezuela, where several explosions have rocked the capital city there of Caracas. That is according to multiple eyewitnesses that NBC News has spoken to over the last several hours. Those eyewitnesses sharing firsthand accounts of those explosions. The Venezuelan government, for its part, has accused the United States in a new statement from overnight of carrying out the military attacks, condemning the strikes as what it calls extremely serious military aggression. Neither the White House nor the Pentagon has issued any comment. We are out to both the White House and the Pentagon, as well as the State Department, for any information on this. And, of course, we're monitoring Truth Social to hear if the President of the United States shares any comments as well. But notably, if the U.S. is behind these strikes, it would mark a major escalation from the United States military after the Trump administration's months-long pressure campaign on Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro's regime there. Maduro, someone that the United States has said is an illegitimate leader, the head of what the United States, U.S. Says is a narco-terrorist state. And, of course, it follows a recent U.S. strike in Venezuela just before the end of the year, as well as we have been reporting for weeks and months now, those military strikes on boats in the region that the U.S. says have been carrying drugs throughout the region.
The United States has just captured the Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife after the massive operation in Caracas overnight, and they have been flown out of the country. According to Trump, U.S. forces first launched massive strikes inside Venezuela's capital at around 2 a.m. on the night, wherein at least 7 explosions were heard in Caracas, accompanied by low-flying aircraft and power outages. Then, U.S. forces carried out a special operation in which Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro and his wife were taken into custody and flown outside the country. U.S. officials have not yet released operational specifics nor any information about where they have taken Nicolás Maduro. The Venezuelan government called it an imperialist attack and urged citizens to take to the streets. It was not immediately clear who was running the country, and Maduro's whereabouts were not immediately known. However, this marks a significant escalation between the two countries, as Caracas declared a state of emergency and mobilized forces in response. We'll continue to update as more verified information becomes available.
Late last night and early today, at my direction, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela. Overwhelming American military power, air, land, and sea, was used to launch a spectacular assault. And it was an assault like people have not seen since World War II. It was a force against a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas to bring outlaw dictator Nicolás Maduro to justice. This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history. And if you think about it, we've done some other good ones, like the attack on Soleimani, the attack on al-Baghdadi, and the obliteration and decimation of the Iran nuclear sites just recently in an operation known as Midnight Hammer. All perfectly executed and done. No nation in the world could achieve what America achieved yesterday, or frankly, in just a short period of time. All Venezuelan military capacities were rendered powerless as the men and women of our military, working with U.S. law enforcement, successfully captured Maduro in the dead of night. It was dark. The lights of Caracas were largely turned off due to a certain expertise that we have. It was dark and it was deadly. But captured along with his wife, Celia Flores, both of whom now face American justice. Maduro and Flores have been indicted in the Southern District of New York, it's Jay Clayton, for their campaign of deadly narco-terrorism against the United States and its citizens. I want to thank the men and women of our military who achieved such an extraordinary success overnight with breathtaking speed, power, precision, and competence. You rarely see anything like it. You've seen some raids in this country that didn't go so well. They were an embarrassment. If you look back to Afghanistan, or if you look back to the Jimmy Carter days, they were different days. We're a respected country again, like never before. These highly trained warriors operating in collaboration with U.S. law enforcement caught them in a very ready position. They were waiting for us. They knew we had many ships out in the sea, just sort of waiting. They knew we were coming. So they were in a ready, what's called a ready position. But they were completely overwhelmed and very quickly incapacitated. If you would have seen what I saw last night, you would have been very impressed. I'm not sure that you'll ever get to see it, but it was an incredible thing to see. Not a single American service member was killed, and not a single piece of American equipment was lost. We had many helicopters, many planes, many people involved in that fight. But think of that, not one piece of military equipment was lost, not one service member was, more importantly, killed. The United States military is the strongest and most fearsome military on the planet by far, with capabilities and skills our enemies can scarcely begin to imagine. We have the best equipment anywhere in the world. There's no equipment like what we have, and you see that even if you just look at the boats. You know, we've knocked out 97% of the drugs coming in by sea. 90%. Each boat kills on average, 25,000 people. We knocked out 97%. And those drugs mostly come from a place called Venezuela. We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years.
Bro, do you know how terrified every other world leader will be right now seeing the US capture the president of Venezuela like that? Right, it was just yesterday that he was giving interviews on TV talking about, how he's willing to negotiate with the US to combat drug trafficking for one of the first times. He goes to sleep that night. Who knows where, but he is was the president, and so it's going to be somewhere hella secure. And then between 12 and 3 a.m., we hear that the US's Army's Delta Force, which is their top counterterrorism unit, has got boots on the ground in Venezuela. They've managed to snatch him and his wife from his own country, put him on a chopper, and fly him to an undisclosed location. No one knows where he is. We don't know if he's alive. We don't know what this means for Venezuela's future. Is this an act of war? Is this a major breach of international law? Does the US even care about that? It's like, just for other world leaders seeing this, to know that the US military has the ability to carry out something like that is going to send shockwaves to all of them watching.
Yo, Trump put the president of Venezuela in a Nike tech and is shipping him off to New York. I don't know if it's just a coincidence or this man trying to pull a double troll. Since the capture of the president of Venezuela, the citizens have been turning up. A lot of them have been going live, showing parades, some of them chanting. They're even turning up in Miami right now. A lot of them feel as if that they've been freed from someone that they've seen as a dictator. Trump has also stated that the US will now be in charge of Venezuela until they are able to find a person to basically put as a new president. And yeah, a lot of Americans not too happy about that. Countries like Russia, Iran, Cuba, and even Brazil have called out Trump, condemning him, saying that he should have never went over there and did that this is a crime. There are still some that aren't too happy about the US playing police and intervening in other countries', affairs. Regardless, you guys know I'm always here to give y'all unbiased news. And if you feel like I'm biased or whatever, complain about it in my comments. What do you guys think about this situation?
The fuck do you mean? World War III has just started. We are not even 3 full days into 2026, and the fucking Venezuelan president just got kidnapped. How the fuck do you just kidnap a president? They picked up that nigga like he was in a vending machine and just flew off with that nigga. What the fuck? Nigga, security guards must have been my ranked teammates. I ain't gonna lie, so far 2026 has a crazier start than 2025, which only means that this year is gonna get crazier. I'm low-key kind of scared. Like, low-key, I want y'all to comment down below the last thing the president of Venezuela saw before he got kidnapped, bro. But now it's crazy though, because with the president of Venezuela literally been taken out and kidnapped, people on the streets of Venezuela literally out there celebrating. So now literally people on Kalshi are predicting the world leaders that will be out before 2027. They're literally saying Keir Starmer has a 53% chance at being out before 2027, and Viktor Orban has a 44% chance at being out before 2027. And honestly, bro, Kalshi's never fucking wrong, bro. It's honestly crazy how you can literally bet for anything nowadays, bro. Like literally a couple days ago, Stable Ronaldo bet $300,000 that a gay couple would kiss on New Year's Day on live television. And he won. Like, it's honestly crazy, bro. What can you bet for next? If the fucking Chica dance guy would get a girlfriend before 2027? But nah, on some real shit though, bro, if the fucking US does get into an actual war and niggas need to get enlisted in the military, bro, just know I'm not partaking in that, bro. I'm taking my ass all the way to Nigeria, where I'm from, and I'm staying there. And you guys are gonna have to go to the military. Not me, just you.
Listen closely, because what's happening right now is deeper than what people think. The United States didn't just wake up one morning and decide, hey, I'ma threaten Venezuela. He announced land strikes, shutting down the airspace. And the way he's speaking with that level of certainty, that shit is not normal language, y'all. That's calculated and that's strategic. That's meant to send a message far beyond one country. So publicly, the explanation for this is because of the drugs, the trafficking routes, and the criminal network. But when you look at the actual flow of drugs coming into the US, Venezuela is not the primary source. They not even at the top 5. So you sit there like, when the reasoning don't match the reality, you start looking deeper. What's really happening is a shift in power. Venezuela is positioned at the top of South America. And if you control that region, you influence the whole hemisphere. And as of right now, the US is making it clear to who is going to maintain control of that spot. This isn't about the volume of drugs, y'all. This is about leverage. It's about pressure. And it's about setting an example. And the way this man just came on the air and was like, there's going to be land strikes, and people was just like, damn, he's so blunt with it. Did he mean to say it like that? Yes, that was intentional. It tells Venezuela and every other country that's watching exactly where the US stand and how far they're willing to go. When a superpower start talking like this, y'all, you gotta already know that the decision has already been made. It's just been made behind closed doors without us knowing, until we know. So while the headline is showing one thing, the real moves is happening under the surface. Pay attention, because moments like this, the world changes quietly before it changes loud.
The president of Venezuela has just been kidnapped by Donald Trump. Yes, Donald Trump just announced that the president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife have been captured by the United States of America and flown out of the country. The president just announced and made a post saying the United States of America has successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, who has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. This operation was done in conjunction with U.S. law enforcement. Details to follow at a news conference today at 11 a.m. at Mar-a-Lago. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And we will be live here on TikTok if you want the reminder, click right there, with this announcement from Donald Trump tomorrow. But it looks like he has captured Maduro and his wife, meaning they are not unalive, they are alive, and it's unclear where they're going, where the president wants to take them, and what he's going to do with them.
Mira, pero ven acá, no se metan para acá, no sabemos que hay ahí que se queda aquí. Sí.
Amor. Ay, no. Mira eso. Mira eso.
Huevo, qué locura. Mosca ahí. Mira esa mierda, explotaron allá toda esa mierda, porque tú no estás explotando.
Mierda, marico, se prendió el peo en esta mierda, ¿oyó?
Huevo.
Mamá, huevo, ¿qué mierda es esta?